What if everything you've been told about growing old is incomplete? For decades, many older adults have been given the same message. Slow down. Rest more. Accept that weakness, forgetfulness, and losing your independence are simply part of getting older. But what if that isn't the whole story? What if the difference between someone who is still walking confidently at 85 and someone who struggles to leave the house at 75 isn't luck, isn't genetics, and isn't expensive medication? What if it comes down to a handful of simple daily habits that quietly protect your muscles, your brain, and your independence? Today, we're going to explore 6 science-backed habits that researchers have repeatedly linked to healthier aging. These aren't internet trends or miracle supplements. They're practical behaviors that help explain why some people continue living active, independent lives well into their 80s, while others experience rapid decline much earlier. And stay with me until the end, because the number 1 habit surprised even many researchers. It has very little to do with exercise or diet, yet it may be one of the strongest predictors of maintaining both your memory and your independence after the age of 75. But before we begin, if you enjoy learning about the science of healthy aging, longevity, and protecting your body naturally, take a second to subscribe and turn on notifications. Every week, we explore research-backed health strategies designed to help you live not just longer, but better. Now let's begin. Number 6. Drink water with intention, not just when you're thirsty. Most people think dehydration simply means feeling thirsty. After the age of 75, that's no longer true. One of the biggest biological changes that occurs with aging is that your thirst mechanism becomes much weaker. Your body simply stops warning you when it needs water. That means many older adults spend years living in a state of mild dehydration without ever realizing it. And while it may sound harmless, the effects can quietly spread throughout the entire body. Imagine your bloodstream as a delivery highway. Every second, it transports oxygen, nutrients, hormones, and immune cells to every organ that keeps you alive. Now imagine that highway suddenly becomes narrower and slower. Deliveries become delayed. Traffic builds up. Every system begins working harder. That is remarkably similar to what happens when your body doesn't have enough water. Research has shown that even mild dehydration can affect balance, concentration, blood pressure regulation, kidney function, and memory. After 75, those effects become even more noticeable because the body's ability to compensate has naturally declined. One large study following thousands of older adults found that individuals who consistently maintained healthy hydration experienced fewer urinary tract infections, better cognitive performance, and a lower risk of falls compared with those who regularly consumed too little fluid. Falls are not a minor issue in later life. For many older adults, a single fall becomes the event that changes everything. Reduced mobility often leads to muscle loss. Muscle loss leads to even less activity, and that cycle becomes increasingly difficult to reverse. Something as simple as proper hydration helps protect against that downward spiral. The people who age exceptionally well rarely wait until they feel thirsty. Instead, they build hydration into their daily routine. A large glass of water shortly after waking up, another with breakfast, one with lunch, another during the afternoon, and one with dinner. Notice the difference. They don't rely on memory. They rely on routine. That small change removes decision-making from the process. There's another reason morning hydration matters. During sleep, your body continuously loses water through breathing and natural evaporation. By morning, many older adults wake up already mildly dehydrated. Starting the day with water helps restore circulation before your first cup of coffee, before breakfast, and before your daily activities begin. Some physicians also recommend pairing that first morning glass with a small amount of electrolytes when medically appropriate, helping the body retain fluid more effectively. Of course, anyone with kidney disease, heart failure, or fluid restrictions should always follow their physician's recommendations first. The lesson here isn't simply drink more water. It's to drink consistently before dehydration has the opportunity to develop. Small habits repeated every day often outperform dramatic changes that last only a week. Now, let's move to the next habit. Because hydration protects the body's transportation system. But the next habit protects something even more important: your ability to keep moving independently. Number 5. Challenge your muscles every week. Many people believe growing weaker is simply part of getting older. It isn't. Losing some muscle with age is common. Losing it rapidly is often preventable. Beginning around your 60s, your body naturally starts losing muscle tissue each year. After 75, that process accelerates through a condition called sarcopenia. Think of your muscles like the engine of a car. You may polish the exterior. You may wash the windows. But if the engine slowly loses power every year, eventually the car simply can't perform the way it once did. Your muscles power almost everything you value. Standing from a chair, climbing stairs, carrying groceries, walking safely, maintaining balance, even recovering after illness. The challenge is that aging muscles become less responsive. Scientists call this anabolic resistance. In simple terms, your muscles no longer respond to everyday movement the way they did decades earlier. They need a stronger signal. That doesn't mean lifting heavy weights in a crowded gym. It means giving your muscles a reason to stay alive. Resistance bands, light dumbbells, wall push-ups, chair squats, carrying shopping bags with good posture. Simple movements, done consistently. Research following adults between 75 and 85 has shown that just 2 to 3 resistance sessions each week can significantly improve leg strength, balance, mobility, and even insulin sensitivity. But something even more fascinating happens beneath the surface. Inside every muscle cell are tiny structures called mitochondria. You can think of them as microscopic power stations. Every movement your body makes depends on them producing energy efficiently. Resistance exercise doesn't simply strengthen muscles. It also stimulates healthier mitochondria, helping your body produce more usable energy while reducing age-related decline at the cellular level. That means the benefits extend far beyond appearance. They influence endurance, recovery, brain function, inflammation, and long-term independence. One of the biggest mistakes older adults make is believing everyday walking is enough. Walking is excellent for cardiovascular health, but walking alone doesn't provide enough resistance to preserve muscle mass as effectively after 75. Your muscles need occasional challenge, just enough to remind them they're still needed. Here's another important point. Timing matters. After resistance exercise, your muscles become especially receptive to dietary protein. Eating approximately 25 to 30 grams of quality protein within the next hour helps maximize muscle repair. We'll talk much more about protein shortly because it becomes one of the most important habits later in this countdown. But first, there's another daily behavior that quietly determines whether your brain and body recover overnight or slowly wear down over time. And surprisingly, it has nothing to do with exercise at all. Number 4. Protect your sleep like you protect your heart. Most people think sleep is simply a time when the body shuts down. Science tells a very different story. Sleep is when your body performs some of its most important repair work. After the age of 75, however, that repair process becomes much more fragile. Your brain naturally produces less melatonin than it did decades earlier. Deep sleep becomes shorter. You wake up more often during the night, and the stage of sleep responsible for repairing tissues, strengthening the immune system, and consolidating memories becomes increasingly difficult to reach. Think of deep sleep as your body's overnight maintenance crew. During the day, your body accumulates wear and tear, tiny amounts of cellular damage, metabolic waste, stress hormones, inflammatory molecules. Night is when the cleanup begins. But if that maintenance crew only works for a short time before being interrupted, tomorrow begins with yesterday's repairs unfinished. Over weeks, months, even years, those unfinished repairs begin adding up. Research from leading sleep laboratories has shown that older adults with consistent sleep schedules tend to maintain better memory, stronger immune function, healthier blood pressure, and lower rates of cognitive decline than those whose sleep patterns constantly change. Consistency matters just as much as duration. Many exceptionally healthy seniors don't necessarily sleep longer. They simply sleep at roughly the same time every night. Their brains learn when recovery begins. Their hormones become more predictable. Their internal body clock remains synchronized. Creating that rhythm may be one of the simplest ways to improve long-term health. Keeping the bedroom cool. Avoiding bright screens before bed. Reducing heavy meals late in the evening. And practicing slow breathing before sleep all help prepare the nervous system for deeper rest. Because after 75, quality often matters even more than quantity. Now let's move to a habit that many older adults unknowingly overlook every single day. One that directly determines whether your muscles continue rebuilding or slowly disappear. Number 3, eat enough protein, spread throughout the day. One of the biggest myths about aging is that older adults need less protein. The opposite is true. As muscles become less responsive with age, they actually require stronger nutritional signals to maintain themselves. Imagine trying to repair a brick wall. Every night, damaged bricks are removed. Every morning, new bricks must replace them. Protein provides those bricks. Without enough building material, repairs remain incomplete. Week after week, month after month, the wall slowly weakens. Your muscles behave the same way. Research consistently shows that older adults who consume enough high-quality protein throughout the day maintain greater muscle mass, better mobility, stronger immunity, and lower rates of hospitalization following falls. But there's another detail many people miss. Distribution matters. Eating one large protein-rich dinner after consuming very little all day is not as effective as spreading protein across breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Your muscles can only use so much protein at one time. Providing a steady supply throughout the day allows repair to happen more efficiently. Simple choices make a difference. Eggs with breakfast, Greek yogurt, fish, chicken, beans, lentils, low-fat dairy. These foods become the raw materials your body needs to preserve strength. Another fascinating connection exists here. Protein doesn't only support muscles. It also supports the connective tissues that stabilize joints, tendons, skin, and bones. Combined with adequate vitamin C from fruits and vegetables, protein helps produce collagen, one of the body's most important structural proteins. The result isn't just stronger muscles. It's a body that stays physically resilient for longer. At this point, we've talked about hydration, movement, sleep, and nutrition. Most people would assume that's enough. But surprisingly, the next habit has almost nothing to do with the body. Yet it may be just as important. Number 2, stay social on purpose. Many people think loneliness is simply an emotional experience. Science shows it's also a biological one. Human beings are designed for connection, meaningful conversation, shared laughter, working together, helping someone else. These experiences influence far more than mood. They influence your brain. Researchers studying older adults have repeatedly found that chronic social isolation is associated with faster memory decline, greater inflammation, poorer cardiovascular health, and a significantly higher risk of dementia. Think of conversation as exercise for your brain. Every meaningful interaction forces you to remember names, interpret emotions, choose words, solve problems, read facial expressions, and respond in real time. Thousands of neural circuits activate simultaneously. Without regular use, those circuits gradually weaken, just as muscles shrink when they're never challenged. The brain also begins losing efficiency when meaningful interaction disappears. The healthiest older adults rarely isolate themselves for long. They make social connection part of their routine. Lunch with a neighbor, church groups, community volunteering, walking with a friend, calling grandchildren, book clubs. Even short daily conversations create valuable mental stimulation. An even greater benefit appears when social interaction combines with physical activity. A walk while talking, gardening together, light exercise classes, These combinations stimulate brain chemicals that support learning, memory, and long-term cognitive health more effectively than either activity alone. And now we've reached the habit researchers continue calling one of the strongest predictors of successful aging. Number 1. Never stop learning something new. Most people assume the aging brain loses its ability to grow. Fortunately, that isn't entirely true. Your brain remains capable of building new neural connections throughout life. The challenge is that it needs a reason. Think of your brain like a forest. The paths you walk every day become wide and easy, but unused paths slowly disappear beneath the trees. Learning something completely new forces your brain to build entirely new pathways. That process strengthens what scientists call cognitive reserve. Cognitive reserve is your brain's backup system. The stronger it becomes, the better your brain can continue functioning even as natural aging occurs. Research following older adults for many years has found that those who consistently challenge themselves with new skills maintained better memory, faster thinking, and lower rates of dementia than those who relied only on familiar routines. The activity itself matters less than the challenge. Learning a language, painting, playing an instrument, cooking unfamiliar recipes, learning photography, using new technology. The key is productive struggle. If it feels slightly difficult, your brain is adapting. That discomfort is not failure. It is growth. Perhaps the most encouraging lesson from all of today's research is this. Healthy aging isn't about becoming younger. It is about becoming more resilient, hydrating consistently, strengthening your muscles, protecting your sleep, eating enough protein, staying socially connected, and continuously challenging your mind. None of these habits require extraordinary talent. None require expensive equipment. Yet together they create a powerful foundation for maintaining independence well into your later years. Your age does not decide how much life remains in your years. Your daily habits help decide that. If you found today's research valuable, subscribe for more science-based health videos designed to help you stay healthier, stronger, and more independent for as long as possible. And before you leave, tell us your age in the comments and answer one simple question. Which of these 6 habits are you already doing? And which one will you start today? I'd genuinely love to hear your answer.